Hi, I'm Joel Wanasek. I'm a pro mixer and the co-founder of NailedTheMix.com, the coolest place to learn how to mix music on the entire internet. Today, I'm going to break down another banger of a song, which is Blackbear, Hot Girl Bummer Anthem. This one's mixed by Alex Ghenea. This song is awesome and the mix crushes. So let's break this down and talk about this mix. What do we got? Have a listen.
Fuck you and you and you. I hate your friend.
All right, so what do we got here in the intro? We got some snaps. We've got a vocal and we've got a guitar. So let's pay attention to the instrumental first and we'll talk about the vocal.
And you, I hate your friends and they hate me too.
Okay, so what do we hear? First things first, the guitar is pretty loud and prominent, definitely attention grabbing. The snaps are super loud, but they're sparse. So while they're loud and attention grabbing, the guitar is really what kind of gives you the groove and the feel for the thing, you know, on that eighth note. So one thing you'll notice about the EQ on the guitar is kind of rolled off. It's not super bright. It's a little bit more mid-rangey, but the snaps are super crisp and super bright and super wide. So listen to that dichotomy.
I hate your friends and they hate me too.
The vocals and the guitar are about the same in volume and the snaps are super loud. So listen to those balances.
I hate your friends and
Creates a nice pocket. Okay, so vocally, the vocals aren't mixed super loud. They're reasonably bright. They're not very sibilant.
I hate your
And they've got a decent amount of top end treble air frequencies kind of mixed into them.
friends and they hate me too.
They sound super smooth and super dry. I like that. It's cool because the snaps are bright, but kind of dry. The guitar is kind of, you know, I don't want to say lo-fi, but a little bit darker, more mid-rangey. Doesn't really have much ambient, and the vocals are super dry. I think that's a cool vibe.
I'm through. This that hot girl bummer anthem. Turn it up and throw attention. This that.
Okay, so we bring in right there the octave down vocal, and it's super loud, and I like it because it kind of, you know, it emphasizes the hook of the song. There's a riser effect and a little like ooh thing in there that's kind of blended, and that helps that transition kind of smack.
Turn it up and throw attention. This that hot girl
All right, let's pay attention to what happens here when the beat drops. So pay attention to the drums here and the bass.
bummer anthem. Turn it up and throw attention. This that throw up in your back
That flow is so sick.
and throw attention. This that hot girl bummer anthem. Turn it up and
Okay, kick drum bass relationship. First off, the kick drum frequency wise is above the bass. All right, that 808 is very smooth on the bottom. You know, it's a very warm sound. It's got a lot of low end extension, and the kick drum is above it. So it's got some knock, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of not stepping all over the so.
hook up with someone random. This that social awkward suicide that by your lips and by your likes.
And I like that pulsing kind of side chain, like wah, wah. You can kind of hear it growing in volume. It's a pretty cool sound. Check that
This
out.
that social awkward suicide that by your lips and by your likes.
Hear that subtle movement that's in that bottom end?
Throw attention. This that throw up in your Birkin bag. Hook up with someone random.
And that's cool because it adds a bit of a vibe and a bit of a flow to it. If it was just static, like the same volume level, there was no change in the frequency entering, it would just be doom, 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 doom. You know, it sound more like an older, you know, like a rap song. You know what I mean? Even though this has definitely got a hip hop vibe to it, it adds more of kind of like a swell and like a movement and kind of like a circular pump to the groove, which kind of makes the flow of the vocals actually sicker and gives it something to kind of ride off of. So I think that's badass. I really love that. It's mixed very well. It's super loud. It's super fat.
My anthem, turn it up and throw attention. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up.
Pay attention to the snare now.
Hook up with someone random. This that social awkward suicide.
Snare is actually louder than the kick drum here. The kick drum's got some knock, but it's really more of like a bass instrument and like a snare kind of mix. And the reason I think that's like that is because there's no hat here. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing else in the thing. Just everything just drops out. It's like a drop and you just have a bass, a kick, snare, and a vocal.
This Thursday night, that college dropout music every day.
And then when the hi-hat comes in right there, it really progresses the song. So listen to how loud that snare is in relation to the kick.
Get up and throw attention. This that throw up in your back.
The other thing is that dichotomy. Like earlier we had the warmer guitar and the brighter snaps. Here we've got a brighter snare, but we've got a warmer beat.
Bag hook up with someone random. This that social awkward
By beat, I mean kick and bass.
suicide that by your lips and by your likes. I swear she had them.
Okay, so vocals. Let's take a look at the vocals. The same kind of EQ and stuff that we had before. It's bright. It's got a lot of air. Listen to the ambience on the voice. It's super dry.
My anthem, turn it up and throw attention. This that hot girl bummer anthem, turn it up.
And I love it because if there are effects on there, and I'm sure they're buried in there very subtly, you can't really identify them or hear them. It just sounds super dry, which just totally focuses your ear on that. Now, if you're really an astute listener, you'll have noticed in there, there's like a little bit of a synth that has a bit of an ambience that's kind of tucked in that bass. And it is so subtle, but if you listen for it, you'll hear some of the tails over some of the space.
This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw a tantrum. This that throw up in your
Right there.
Birkin bag.
Left side.
Hook up with someone random. This that social awkward suicide.
Super subtle. All right, next section. We add some more keyboards and we add the famous trap hat. So let's take a look at how the hi-hat's mixed versus the snare, because that's super important in this type of music.
Like that she be too thick and my friends are all annoying, but we go dumb, yeah, we go stupid. This the 10K on it.
Now, the type of hat they've picked is not like a super, super bright one with like a lot of high transient energy. You know, it's kind of got like that, I'll call it like a 4K tick. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of like super high in it. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more rolled off in terms of the top end, and it's more in like the 4 to 6 to 8K range, somewhere in there. The hat is reasonably loud, but still not quite as loud as the snare. And it just, you know, it's kind of tucked in there to add something new, but it's not like to be attention grabbing, just to kind of make the groove feel a little bit more gradual. Next section here, we go to like essentially the chorus. We have a different breakdown of instruments. So let's pay attention to this instrumentally. Okay, so what do you hear? First off, bass and guitar. Listen to that. So guitars are super loud, right? Because all that bass energy dropped out of there. And there's still a good bass energy, but it's not like before we have like the knock and kick and all that stuff. There's no drums. So we have bass that's nice and round. You don't have any low end drop off, but it doesn't feel quite as big. It feels like it kind of backs up a little bit, but you get all this guitar mid range that's brought forward and balanced forward to take the listener's ear and like really make it feel like, hey, we're in a different section.
This that hot girl by my anthem, turn it up and throw it.
Also vocally, listen to what's changed. Nothing, except there's a little bit of a, you know, layered vocal coming up here on like the hook part. This that hot girl by my. Instead of the low octave vocal they did earlier, now they've got just a bunch of doubles in there. And now when it drops, we've got the full hi-hat in there. And there's some nice ambient synths. So listen to the ambient synths, listen to the hi-hat. I like how the vocal sounds more dry. If you really, really listen and you have really good speakers, you can hear there's a very nice long ambient reverb on the voice that's tucked in there. Again, the vocal sounds dry, but there's a space now because it goes with the ambience of the synths. So listen very carefully for that. Do you hear it? Yeah, this mix rips. Love this song. Love the flow. I think it's mixed phenomenally. So let me know what you think of this mix in the comments below. And of course, if you got anything you want me to break down, please let me know. I'm doing these videos a couple times a week. If you enjoy this type of content where I'm breaking down mixes and talking about production and stuff like that, please click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for new videos. I'm doing a couple every week. I cover all types of different genres, from pop to hip hop to death metal. Actually, I don't think I've done any death metal, but I'm going to. If you like mixing content, please follow me on Instagram and TikTok. That's at Joel Wanasek. Thank you so much for watching, and please check out nailthemix.com. Have a good day.